Hartford. Yankees and Royals in KC. Let's get it out to Matt Vasgersian and Eric Karros at Kauffman Stadium.
Well, Ryan, late spring in Kansas City, and Mother Nature couldn't be more accommodating on a beautiful night for our national pastime. Fox Baseball Night in America presents the New York Yankees and the Kansas City Royals. And welcome inside the broadcast booth with Eric Karros, Matt Vasgersian. The New York Yankees start play 5.5 back of the Toronto Blue Jays in the AL East. A team, Eric, that really hasn't found its stride yet, but brings with it tonight, as always, a lot of marquee talent.
Well, when you think of the New York Yankees, you think of stars, and that's what we've got tonight. We've got the captain, Derek Jeter, who will go down as one of the all-time Yankee greats. We got Mark Teixeira over at first, who has averaged 35 home runs and 35 doubles in his career. Alfonso Soriano, 12 consecutive years of 20-plus home runs. And Carlos Beltran, the former Rookie of the Year and 10-time All-Star. Jacoby Ellsbury, probably the most important positional signing for the Yankees. He absolutely kills Kansas City pitching at a .379 clip.
As far as the Kansas City Royals are concerned, a similar deficit in the AL Central. They're 5 back of the Detroit Tigers. They're a team that'll go as far as their quality starting pitching will take them. And tonight, we get a chance to see one of their real up-and-comers, the hard-throwing lefty, Danny Duffy.
Well, Danny Duffy has an electric arm, no question about it. In his last start against the St. Louis Cardinals, he went 6 innings, allowed only 1 hit. And in fact, in his last 5 starts, 3 of those, he's gone 6 innings and allowed 2 or less hits. He's going to have his good stuff if he's going to get this star-studded Yankee lineup tonight.
Big crowd is expected tonight, in part to catch a glimpse of one of the game's all-time greats on his farewell tour. Fans and players alike aware of the Yankee captain's special place in the game.
For the Yankees, number 2, Derek Jeter.
He's a guy that has, give his life to this organization. He's going to be remembered as one of the greatest Yankees ever.
The things that I love about him, he's so consistent.
Getting 200-plus hits every year, playing every day, and that's what any player strives to do, to play at a high level.
Three-game set on tap between the homestanding Royals and the New York Yankees. Manager Joe Girardi coming off of a loss yesterday in the opener, trying to build some momentum as we approach the midway point and start talking about the All-Star game in a little over a month. We're underway at Kauffman Stadium tonight. Danny Duffy's first offering. The leadoff hitter Brett Gardner is in for strike one. We'll set the Yankee lineup for you in just a moment. Brett Gardner digging in at a .283 average. One of a couple of left-handed batters who will be challenged by the southpaw Danny Duffy tonight. And quickly behind 0-2 is Brett Gardner.
Danny Duffy has great stuff, and the only question is, can he harness it? An electric arm, lot of movement. He's been good his last couple of starts. As we mentioned at the top of the show, his last outing against St. Louis, he was dominant for 6 innings.
A 6-0 winner at St. Louis on Monday. Duffy's third winner of the year, and in front of Brett Gardner to start the night. 0-2. A swing and a miss. And that's how play gets underway in Kansas City tonight. Let's set the rest of the Yankees starting lineup, brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you got to lift Moss. Derek Jeter trying to snap out of a 6 for 30. It'll be Jacoby Ellsbury, followed by 3 switch hitters to Sheriff Beltran and Solarte. Alfonso Soriano, another switch hitter, Brian Roberts. And finally, John Ryan Murphy gets the start at catcher tonight. So a warm host round of applause for the visiting player Derek Jeter. Derek, as we mentioned, in a 6 for 30. But as we talked about at the top of the show, Eric, a lot of folks that are here tonight are here exclusively to see one last glimpse of the future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, last night got the night off, and he didn't want to sit out. Joe Girardi, though, thinking, look, he's played a number of games, got to give him a night here. Back in the lineup today. But again, these fans here in Kansas City coming to see their Royals, but as you mentioned, also to see one of the all-time Yankee greats in his farewell year.
Counts 1 ball and 1 strike to Derek Jeter. Off the fists, a slow roller out to his opposite number, and Jeter is retired for out number 2. Alcides Escobar has been very good defensively as he makes a routine chance of what could have been a tricky play. Well, Danny Duffy, Eric, as we mentioned, making his 7th start of the year tonight. And among his strengths, he is particularly tough on left-handed hitters. In fact, he's allowed a grand total of 1 hit to a left-handed batter all year long.
We saw Gardner, the first Yankee hitter up, left-handed, 3 pitches, a strikeout. This will be his next test, Jacoby Ellsbury.
Jacoby Ellsbury, unlike Derek Jeter, has been swinging a very hot bat of late, trying to extend an 11-game hitting streak tonight. Duffy's 0-1 pitch home. A ball and a strike now to Jacoby Ellsbury. You know, you talk about the day off for Derek Jeter yesterday, and in tonight's Yankee lineup, it's Brian McCann who gets the day off. New York is in the midst of a stretch where they play 17 games in 17 days. And with a veteran lineup, it's been a challenge for Joe Girardi. Well, we put the whammy on that left-hander thing, didn't we? For just the 2nd time this year, Danny Duffy's allowed a base hit to a left-handed swinger.
Well, and more important, Ellsbury extends his hitting streak to 12 games. You know, the other thing we talked about earlier before the telecast, no stolen bases yet allowed by Danny Duffy, and you've got the Yankee leader in stolen bases at first base.
Mark Teixeira, the batter. And Tex takes a strike. Teixeira, one of the veteran Yankees who Joe Girardi has had to be very diplomatic with over the last number of weeks regarding use and keeping fresh. Been a couple of different injury issues for Mark this year, and the most cumbersome has been the right wrist problem that virtually lost his entire 2013 season. and one that the Yankees are very mindful of every day moving forward.
Yeah, I was talking to him about it yesterday. He said he just had a cortisone shot to relieve the inflammation. They said it's hampered him to get into any type of rhythm this year.
A chopper to the left side of the infield. Good backhand play by Escobar. With time, he throws out to Shera to retire the side. Underway in Kansas City, a half inning gone. Yankees 0, Royals coming to bat. Let's check Ned Yost's Royals starting lineup, brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you got to live Moss. Nori Aoki, Omar Infante, and Eric Hosmer lead things off. Billy Butler, the designated hitter, trying to extend a modest 4-game hitting streak. Bats in the cleanup spot. A pair of 2013 All-Stars, 5 and 6, Alex Gordon and Sal Perez. Lorenzo Cain, Mike Moustakas back from his quick AAA assignment, and Alcides Escobar round things out for Kansas City. They'll take swings against 27-year-old Yankee right-hander David Phelps, making his 7th start of the year.
Kind of interesting in that he has more success against left-handed hitting than he does the righties. We talked to Joe Girardi prior to the game. He said, well, he doesn't like to throw a lot of his soft stuff, the change up, off speed to the right-handed hitters. Just constantly hard. If you can get that over, maybe have a little bit better success against those righties.
Phelps, unlike Duffy, is coming off a bit of a clunker his last time around. Monday against Seattle, he's touched up for 6 earned runs over 6 innings and took a 10-2 loss. So looking to get back on track tonight and ready to go to work against Nori Aoki, Omar Infante, and Eric Hosmer. First pitch of the night from David Phelps misses off the corner. Aoki at 259, no home runs, 13 driven in. No home runs. That is something of a theme and something of an issue when you talk about the Royals offense. It's not quite as dramatic as no home runs. The fact remains that Kansas City as a team this year ranks dead last in all of baseball with 26 home runs in 61 games.
Well, the amazing thing for me, you look at that lineup tonight and you go to the 3-4 position, Hosmer and Butler, that's a combined 2 home runs there.
Something that's been talked about certainly in Kansas City all season long as Aoki sends a fly ball into the opposite field. Brett Gardner out there, and there's one away. Well, in terms of the home run story, every American League team has hit at least 100 since the advent of the wild card in 1995. The Royals are on a pace for 69. And when we talked to Ned Yost before the game tonight, he is very confident, as are we, let's face it, that the home run productivity will increase. The fact of the matter is they've gotten off to an extremely slow power start. There's Omar Infante now.
Well, there are a number of things. It's going to warm up. The ball will start to carry more. Again, Eric Hosmer was in a similar situation last year. He had 1 home run in the middle of June and got hot, hit 16 the rest of the way. The reality is that they just have not hit for power. And that means you've got to string 2, 3, 4 hits together to produce a run. That's taxing on the offense.
1-1 home. And that has been a challenge for the Royals this year. Kansas City ranks last in total bases and slugging and 3rd from the bottom in runs scored. That has prompted a change at hitting coach. Dale Swaim, to the left of Ned Yost, has taken over those duties full time. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Omar Infante.
And one of the things there's the old hitting coach, Pedro Grifol. He's now in charge of the catching duties. Ned Yost saying that he's rearranged his staff to put them in the position where they could best help the team.
On the corner, and Infante is caught looking.
Well, this is a good pitcher's pitch on the outer half of the plate, knee high. Not much Infante can do with it anyhow.
Does good pitcher's pitch mean it actually missed and was a ball? Because that looked like it was off the corner.
That means if you're pitching, you'd be saying, wow, that's a good call right there. If I'm up at the plate, I'm muttering to myself and home plate umpire Jerry Lane back to the dugout.
Here's Eric Hosmer now. And the aforementioned 1 home run on his 60-plus game line to start 2014. Two out, bases empty, home half of the first. You know, when you look at Hosmer's home run breakdown by month last year, these are among the reasons that Ned Yost isn't as worried as some folks feel he should be. The best is yet to come, as they say.
Well, according to what happened last year, but that still doesn't explain, Billy Butler, 1 home run. Moustakas, the struggles after having a great spring training. And the reality is that you can't just hope that something that happened last year is going to repeat itself this year.
Well, there's going to be a lot of disappointed teams around Major League Baseball to hear that, right? How often do you hear as Hosmer is locked up? We'll continue that thought as we continue in the second. A couple of strikeouts in a 1-2-3 first for David Phelps. by Taco Bell Breakfast. Wake up, live Moss. Neither David Phelps nor Danny Duffy having any trouble in their first innings. Derek Jeter takes a seat and watches Carlos Beltran, Yangervis Solarte, and Alfonso Soriano go to work against the Royals left-hander in the second. Carlos Beltran looking for his first base hit since being reactivated off the disabled list. The elbow bone bruise that landed him on the shelf. Something that sapped some of the pop away from the perennial all-star DH / outfielder. And was also something that perhaps was an issue leading into the DL stint. Through April 24th, Carlos was batting almost 300, 5 home runs, picking up right where he left off. It has been a struggle for him since, as that plate appearance may indicate. Second strikeout for Danny Duffy. So that'll bring up another switch hitter, and one without the back of the baseball card that Carlos Beltran has. Yangervis Solarte, born in Venezuela. His minor league career numbers, 619 games and nearly 290 average, and hit a lot of stops in 8 years in the minors before finally making it to the big time as a New York Yankee this April.
Yeah, almost like come get drafted and see America while playing minor league baseball. But the ultimate destination, the big leagues, he's here and he's done extremely well.
But nothing in one pitch to him is fouled away quickly behind 0-2. Yes, Solarte is hardly an overnight sensation. And on a roster, Eric, where there is a lot of payroll, a lot of combined all-star appearances, this is the guy that may have been to this point Joe Girardi's most consistent player.
Well, he's been able to run him out there every day, and that's allowed Joe Girardi some flexibility. Solarte, they certainly didn't expect to hit like he has so far. He's been able to fill in a number of positions, giving Joe a lot of options.
A ball and 2 strikes, the count to Solarte. He is one of 4 switch hitters in tonight's Yankee lineup, and it seems like regardless of the vintage of Yankee baseball you're talking about, they always seem to come at you with big time switch hitting threats. Well, dating back to Mickey Mantle. And again, 4 of them in the lineup tonight. That's beaten on the ground at third. Moustakas knocks it down, recovers, and gets his man.
Moustakas a nice job of keeping that ball in front of him and then calmly running over, picking it up barehanded, knowing he has enough time to get the running Solarte. Moustakas, and we talking to Ned Yost, they said when he went down to Omaha, they recognizably missed his defense. That's something that gets overlooked a lot, especially when you're not hit.
So 2 gone now for Alfonso Soriano. And speaking of not hitting, Soriano in a 2-for-14 funk, one that in part has led to Joe Girardi's reevaluating what he does in right field every night. The Yankee manager telling the media a couple of days ago that he is now considering right field a platoon between the veterans, Alfonso Soriano, and Ichiro Suzuki, who plays against right-handed pitching now.
Well, Soriano didn't get the start last night, and you just look at the splits against left-handed, against right-handed pitching. He's hitting $190. You just can't keep running that out there right now.
2 out, bases empty. Duffy's next offering is fouled into the seats.
You know, that being said, 12 consecutive years of 20 or more home runs. And you just talk about consistency and the ability to display power. And heck, you remember, right? 2002, I think it was. And he was speed and power, stealing bases at will.
Yeah, here's one of those water cooler trivia question answers that you'd lose a couple of nickels on. Jose Altuve leads the American League in hits and stolen bases. The last player to lead his league, American or National, in both of those categories through a full season was Alfonso Soriano in 2002. About 3 early strikeouts for Danny Duffy tonight. An inning and a half gone, still a scoreless ball game. At the Lincoln Motor Company, this is where a new conversation begins. A scoreless start to the night. We go to the bottom half of the second. David Phelps struck out a pair in a 1-2-3 first, and here in the second inning he gets Billy Butler, Alex Gordon, and Salvador Perez. Billy Butler trying to extend a modest 4-game hitting streak tonight. For the continuing conversation about the power outage in Kansas City, much of it focuses on their longtime DH, Billy Butler, for whom there have been declining power results over the past few years. It's a charge in that one out to right. Soriano can run it down before it skips up against the wall, and it's a leadoff double for Billy Butler.
Well, Billy Butler gets a pitch over the middle part of the plate. He keeps his hands inside the ball, drives it to right center. Soriano plays it off the wall. Butler cruises in for an easy double.
I don't know if Alfonso Soriano had trouble in the sun and shadows out there in right, but the sunglasses that are on the top of the cap may or may not have helped.
I'm not so sure where that ball was placed, and Soriano not the most adept at outfield play. I'm not sure he would have run that down anyhow.
So a runner in scoring position now for the man who has had the best success in situations like this on this and many rosters. Alex Gordon is a .388 hitter this year with runners in scoring position. And Ned Yost could not have drawn up a better situation with a better candidate. 1-1.
Yeah, I was going to say Jerry Lane at that last pitch right there. Looks like he's got the wide zone. I mean, he's working it for both teams. But as a hitter, you recognize that. You know that's what you're going to be dealing with all game long.
Gordon takes a look at a strike and falls behind 1-2.
Yeah, see, now Alex Gordon, those last 2 pitches are off the plate. There's no question about that. But again, if you're a hitter on either side, you notice that. And so you can't be surprised when Jerry Lane expands the plate.
Sal Perez waits on deck as Gordon lays off to make it 2 balls and 2 strikes.
See Fox tracks right there. Off speed away. Notice where those are. Out of the zone, but there were strikes.
Two balls and 2 strikes. The count to Alex Gordon with Butler at second. And a base hit into right field and maybe more. Butler's being waved around. He'll score without a play. Back-to-back doubles. And the Royals get on the board first at home tonight.
Well, you mentioned it, Matty. Alex Gordon, great with runners in scoring position. Second only to Miguel Cabrera. Now you see they're set up outside. They want that outside pitch again. Phelps misses right down the middle of the plate. Gordon just drives this ball into the corner. Unfortunately, he put it in the corner because I'm not sure Butler would have scored if it was any closer to Soriano.
Only Robinson Cano has struck for more doubles since the start of the 2011 season. Alex Gordon with an RBI double here, and the Royals are on the board. So now Salvador Perez. Perez at 260, 5 home runs and 17 driven in, and what amounts to a, I don't want to use the word weaker field at American League catcher this year, but it might not be as strong as it's been considered in previous seasons. Perez would certainly be a candidate to make his second straight All-Star appearance next month.
Yeah, it does a nice job, as Ned Yost was telling us, constantly wanting to learn, trying to improve upon his game calling, limit the running game, not rely so much on the coaching staff for those sort of things.
2 balls and no strikes to him here, trying to pick up a runner in scoring position with nobody out, to 2-1 now. Matt Wieters leads all catchers in the All-Star vote, which is ongoing for the next few weeks. As we know, Matt has had a lot of injury trouble this year. Perez is jammed, hits a little flare out to left. Gardner on the run. It's going to drop in front of him. Gordon's held at third, and the fire getting a little hotter here in the Royals half of the second. Eric, time to take a look at the keys to the game.
Well, for the Yankees, don't chase. Don't go out of the zone. Make Duffy throw the ball over the plate. And for Kansas City, and specifically Danny Duffy, remember it's 2014. You look at the names of that Yankee lineup and you're going, wow, we got some Hall of Famers, all-star players. But remember, these are older guys now. Don't worry about what the baseball card says. Worry about what you're facing tonight.
Runners at first and second, or first and third now for Lorenzo Cain.
You talk about hitting with runners in scoring position. We brought up Alex Gordon. This guy right here does a pretty darn good job as well. 375 with runners in scoring position. 4th in the American League coming into tonight.
3 straight hits have opened the home second. Back-to-back doubles by Butler and Gordon. And a base hit by Sal Perez. Yeah, you talk about this being 2014. And yes, the backs of the baseball cards are things that we're very aware of. But the average age on the Yankee roster is just a skosh over 29 years. Doesn't sound like a very big deal. But when you consider some of the younger members of the bullpen, Lorenzo Cain comes through with runners in scoring position again. An RBI single to make it 2-0 Kansas City.
Kane does a nice job. This low pitch, he shoots it to right. You see him running down. Yeah, there you go, man. Talking to his Royals teammates. He's happy. Good job of hitting right there.
4 straight hits, a couple of runs. And now an opportunity for Mike Moustakas. It has been quite a month for the former can't-miss top draft choice. Option to AAA Omaha May 22nd. Little nubber back to the mound. Phelps will go to Solarte, and they're able to get the out on Perez.
Well, when things are going bad, it just continues to snowball. Moustakas asked to bunt in that situation and can't get the runners over. Just one of those things that mentally this game is an absolute grind, more so than any other sport. And that didn't help things in the mentally feeling good about yourself department.
So now it's Alcides Escobar, the number 9 hitter, with 2 runs in, 2 runners aboard, and 1 away. Escobar put together a 1-for-3 opener yesterday with a double. And just foul and right.
You go back to Alex Gordon's double earlier in the inning. You see where the catcher's set up. He's set up way outside. This pitch right down the middle. And the reason he had been set up outside is Jerry Lane, on the previous 2 strikes, a home plate umpire, had given him 2, 3, 4 inches off the plate. They were going to go back out there and get Gordon, but Phelps missed right over the heart of the plate.
0-1 pitch bounced up the middle and past a diving Derek Jeter. Kane runs well. He'll score easily, and it's 3-0 Kansas City. Well, there have been some hard hit balls this inning, and there have been some 16 hoppers that have found the right spots.
Well, this ball gets in on the hands of Escobar. He's able to fight it off and gets it up the middle. A couple years ago, Jeter makes that play probably standing up after the ankle injuries. And again, just father time just eludes him there.
Tell you, Alcides Escobar, of all the good hitters on this Kansas City roster, and there are some real good ones with Hosmer and Butler and Gordon, Escobar would be the guy that, given the wrong day, could drive you the most crazy. He's got a very generous interpretation of the strike zone. You can make a good pitcher's pitch, and this is the kind of hitter that can still beat you.
Yeah, he finds a way to put the bat on the ball. And as you mentioned, you can make a nice pitch. You can go out of the zone. You can be throwing pitches that you think are setup pitches for the next one. And what does he do? Barrels it up and gets a base hit.
So it's back to the top of the Kansas City order now. Nori Aoki. 3 runs in on a 5-hit inning and counting. Runners at first and second with only 1 away. Aoki lines to center. And that's out number 2.
Aoki running back to the dugout and walking back to the dugout. He's thinking, geez, he goes, I smoked that ball. You know, Perez fists one. He gets a base hit. Escobar ground ball up the middle, finds a hole. Again, just some of the things that just mentally, boom, boom, just blows to you.
So 2 gone now for Omar Infante. Infante, a strikeout victim in his first try tonight, and that extends his season worst offer to 0 for 14. The last time you and I saw the Royals in Anaheim a couple of weeks ago, Omar Infante was not in the lineup. He has been in and out of the lineup this year with a host of injuries, including recovering from taking a ball to the face, which required some time away, and then a protective face guard on his helmet, one that he no longer has to wear. But Ned Yost has been pretty forthright with talking about how important Omar Infante is to his offense.
It really is. A great situational hitter. You know what they like to say, a professional hitter, which basically means he just goes up there. He's got a plan. Disciplined enough to stay with it.
Behind a ball and 2 strikes.
You notice, as you mentioned, not wearing that protective mask. Although speaking with Ned Yost yesterday, he said there are pitchers that he will wear that protective mask against, not completely over it.
Oh, interesting.
In fact, he said against the St. Louis Cardinals in their last series, Christian Martinez. Hard throwing reliever.
Somebody who would throw
fastballs hard and
up.
in. Yeah, hard and in. Have a little tail to it.
Three runs of support for Danny Duffy so far here in what's become a very productive bottom of the second. The 2-2 home at slap to second base. Brian Roberts is there for it to put an end to an 8 at-bat second, one in which the Royals get on the board for 3 runs on 5 hits early tonight, and the Royals have a 3-0 lead. RBI double by Alex Gordon. Lorenzo Cain had an RBI single. Alcides Escobar as well, and it spelled a 3-run rally in the Kansas City half of the second. So a 3-0 lead for the Royals. Top half of the third. The 8, 9, and top of the order hitters for New York: Brian Roberts, John Ryan Murphy, and Brett Gardner. Brian Roberts, one of the many Yankees, and it seems like we might be a broken record when we do this, but Roberts has been struggling. 2 for his last 20. A ball and a strike to the Yankees second baseman.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Really, the entire Yankee lineup collectively, they just haven't been able to get going. And offensively, that's been one of the frustrating things because they thought they would be better than what they've shown up to this point. And the starting pitching has been great. Especially over the last month, they've been as good as anybody in baseball.
2 balls and a strike, the count from Danny Duffy. Duffy has struck out 3. He's allowed just the 1 hit, that first inning single. That's bounced up the middle, and a second single tonight for New York. Time for a game break. Let's check in Los Angeles with Ryan Field. All right, Ryan, thanks. And the Dodgers are starting to feel it here. Losers in 7 of their last 10. LA now 9 back of the Giants in the NL West. Runner aboard, nobody out now for John Ryan Murphy. Do the Dodgers have another 42-8 run in them as they did last year at this time?
Yeah, call up Jock Peterson, an outfielder he can be the Puig and.
Sure, I mean, just
the 5th or 6th outfielder that they've got.
Yeah, let's get some more outfielders here. That's getting a little messy, I think.
Yeah, the thing is, if you're in that organization, you just got to worry about, collectively getting yourself straightened out. You can't say, "Wow, the Giants, we can't even see them anymore." And hey, we went 42-8 last year. And they're right in the thick of the wild card, but with their pitching, I'm not sure how they don't stay competitive the rest of the year.
A ball and a strike to count. That one misses inside, and making things worse for Don Mattingly's Dodgers. Yasiel Puig left the game early today with a right hip flexor strain. He is listed as day-to-day for the now 532-32 Los Angeles Dodgers. 2 balls and a strike. The count to John Ryan Murphy. Broken bat pop-up. And 1 away. Well, the burden of expectation. The Yankees feel it every year. The Dodgers feel it this year, certainly. And it's felt here in Kansas City. After years of building and drafting and developing, the fruits of some of that labor were supposed to be sown this year.
Well, as you mentioned, it's been developed, and because they had such a strong second half, I think a lot of baseball experts felt this was going to be their year. This is when things would come together, but offensively, they just have sputtered.
Here's Brett Gardner now, a strikeout victim in his first try, and Brian Roberts is running. Throw down from Perez is in time to get him. Well, Danny Duffy's stolen base record stays clean. Here comes Joe Girardi. We may have an appeal here.
Kind of a weird slide right there. That front foot goes down.
Ooh. This could be a well-used challenge if what we think we saw, we actually saw.
I thought he was out. I didn't. I thought he tagged him on the hip. What's interesting, look at this right here, Matty. Boom. You don't see that too often. Usually that front extended foot stays extended. See right there, you get the tag on him, and he just hasn't touched it.
Yep.
But really weird that front foot just planted right into the ground. That certainly doesn't accelerate your body into second base.
So 2 gone, bases empty now for Gardner. Danny Duffy is so hard to run on. Sound like I'm doing like a Gene Rayburn match game shtick setup. I'm not really.
How hard is it?
Right. He's so hard to run on that was the first actual stolen base attempt on him this year. He's picked off 3 runners, but those don't count towards stolen base attempts. So he has 3 pickoffs, and he has thrown out the only attempted base runner that's tried to go against him. His catcher has, that is, but you know what I mean.
That was clean, Matty. That was real clean.
Trying.
Much like Jane.
Hey.
Jane.
That's up top, and it clears out Brett Gardner. 3 balls and a strike.
This ball just running up and in, gets away from Duffy. Duffy's had pretty good control so far. Throwing a lot of strikes. Yankee hitters being aggressive.
A rare occasion where he's fallen behind in the count, and Gardner swats a pop-up into foul territory. Perez and Hosmer there. Call the ball, Maverick. Eric Hosmer makes the catch to retire the side. Nothing comes of the leadoff single. Still 3-0 Kansas City. Extraordinary moments happen every night in baseball, but on one night they all happen in one place. Don't miss the 85th All-Star Game, Tuesday, July 15th, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, right here on Fox. And I think it's a safe bet to say that Derek Jeter will be there. Eric Hosmer leads things off in the home half of the third, followed by Billy Butler and Alex Gordon. There are some interesting position battles when you start to think about the All-Star Game coming up. As Hosmer grounds to second, and that's the first out for Phelps. Well, David Phelps was knocked around to the tune of a 3-run rally in the second, an inning that included 5 hits. Not all of them were hit on the screws, something we talked with Joe Girardi about between innings.
Yeah, and it looked like he got a couple balls up. He got a ball in the middle of the plate to Gordon, and then you look at Perez. He was able to, muscle it out to left field, and he's done that twice to us. He did it to us last night as well. So, yeah, there were some things that didn't really go our way, but he made some mistakes with 2 strikes.
Talk about some of the challenges you face when you've got an older lineup trying to get them through the season with a lot of these guys wanting to play every day.
Yeah, well, when you get in long stretches, that's when it becomes challenging, and we're in the stretch of 17 in a row, and you just know that you're going to have to use everyone on your roster and give these guys a day off every once in a while, as I chose to give Jeet a day off yesterday. He had played 7 days in a row, and now he'll be back in there for a while again.
Joe, as always, thanks for the time. Best of luck the rest of the way.
Thanks, guys.
As we talked about Brian McCann getting the day off today, we should take a look at some of the numbers around the Yankee roster in terms of median age. 0-1 pitch to Billy Butler's out into center field. In the sun field is Jacoby Ellsbury for round number 2. Jacoby Ellsbury certainly a candidate for the All-Star game this year in a crowded outfield, as is always the case.
Probably so far, you could argue Tanaka may be the most impactful free agent signing this offseason, but I think because Ellsbury coming to the Yankees, leaving the Red Sox, what that's done to that ball club. Make a pretty good case for Jacoby out in center.
2 out, bases empty now for Alex Gordon, an all-star for the first time in his career last year. But let me ask you this regarding the all-star game. John Farrell will have a lot of conversations between now and then about his pitching staff, about who gets the ball to start. Masahiro Tanaka has probably been the most important Yankee this year, maybe the most important player on any roster. Leads the AL in ERA, WHIP. He's just the 10th pitcher since 1914 to start and win 9 of his first 12 career games. I mean, we could do this all day with how unbelievable he's been. But you have Mark Burley up in Toronto, who almost, he lost today, but almost became the league's first 11-game winner.
I think, though, the All-Star game, again, it's a showcase. It's for the fans. It's to add excitement. It's to who do you want to see. I'd like to see Tanaka. I like the fact that he's just come over from Japan, much like when Hideo Nomo did with the Los Angeles Dodgers in the mid-90s.
It's tough to argue against that. As good as Burley's been, as important as he's been to a first-place Toronto Blue Jays club, Tanaka has been electrifying. A ball and 2 strikes, the count to Alex Gordon.
Interesting. Phelps threw a pitch on the inner part of the plate to Gordon. Did not get the call from Jerry Lane. But as he's lived on the outside part to left-handed hitters, he's been getting it all day. There you go.
And a called strike 3. A 1-2-3 third by David Phelps. Derek Jeter leads off the 4th with the Yankees down by 3. Tonight's game on Fox is sponsored by Jersey Boys from Warner Brothers Pictures in theaters June 20th. And by T-Mobile. Some of the folks that have perhaps taken onto the I-70 corridor to come from parts beyond to pay tribute to Derek Jeter. Stop number 3. Oh, she's making the rounds. It's like following Springsteen around the country in the summer. Here is the Yankee captain digging in for his second plate appearance tonight. Jeter, Ellsbury, and Teixeira against Danny Duffy, who's been mighty stingy through the first 3. It was 11 years ago that Derek Jeter was named the 11th captain in Yankee franchise history. An honor bestowed sparingly around the major leagues. In fact, there are only 2 other teams that have captains named in baseball. The Mets with David Wright and the White Sox with Paul Konerko. In your career, did you ever play on a team that had a captain per se, somebody with the C?
Nobody with the C. I played for the Dodgers, the Cubs, and the A's.
It's a bouncer to first for Hosmer. It's ironic. Today is the birthday of the great Thurman Munson, Yankee legend, who had been the last Yankee captain before Derek Jeter. I mean, in today's game with free agency, with so much player movement, I think that's one of the things that makes it tough to kind of hang a C on a guy's chest. You got to know that he's going to be there for a long, long time.
Yeah, and I'm not so sure. I mean, again, as you mentioned, the comings and goings of guys. I mean, like Albert Pujols in St. Louis, you think maybe he would have been a guy. Then he leaves and say he goes to the Angels, and a guy with that stature comes on to the Angels, and should he instantly get a C? He's going to be there for another 10 years. I mean, I'm not so sure that it does more good than harm. I'm not sure it's necessary anymore.
I don't think anybody would disagree that in the case of Derek Jeter with the Yankees, it's perfect.
Absolutely.
Right? Even David Wright with the Mets.
But so when Jeter leaves, when he retires after this year, is there somebody that you would name as a captain? Or do you just go years without and wait till somebody evolves into that role?
Well, if you're asking me, I think it's B. You wait until the right guy comes back along. Ellsbury pops it up, way up. And Perez will have no play.
I mean, we talked about it. Boston, whether it would be Dustin Pedroia, but how do you do that with David Ortiz?
Yeah.
Which was
Jason Varitek wore it.
Yep.
Right. He was that guy. And I stand corrected on Derek Jeter being Yankee captain in regards to Thurman Munson. There were a number in between, including Don Mattingly, who we mentioned earlier. But it doesn't happen all the time around Major League Baseball. I mean, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Do you know what the timeline was when Jeter took over as captain? Who the previous captain was?
It was Don Mattingly.
So the Yankees went. The Yankees didn't know. No, the Yankees didn't go anytime.
Well, it was almost a decade. He wasn't named captain until 11 years ago. Lined out to right. Fine running catch by Nori Aoki. Time for a game break. Let's check in with Ryan Field at the Fox Sports Studios. All right, Ryan, thanks. Oakland won the opener yesterday, their 11th win in their last at-bat of the season, and it came despite some of the histrionics at third base. 2 gone for Mark Teixeira. And for those that didn't see what happened yesterday, Josh Donaldson, the Oakland third baseman, applying a tag to Manny Machado near the third base bag that Machado took exception to for some reason. Though it didn't look very out of the ordinary to most of us. And it cleared the benches. There was some shouting, no fisticuffs thrown, but there were some anxious moments in Baltimore last night. 2 balls and a strike.
And Manny Machado going down to the ground. Remember him, he's coming off that knee injury. Felt like Donaldson tagged him a little too hard, probably gave him a little nudge. Donaldson ended up getting hit later on in the game.
A bouncer to first that'll retire the side in order. Another 1-2-3 inning for Danny Duffy. Still 3-0 Royals. Kansas City Royals starting staff, watching one of their young stars in the make, Danny Duffy, today. But James Shields is the guy who sets the pace. Since 2007, second in the big league in starts, fifth in complete games, top 5 in innings and victories. And we're pleased to have James join us live here from Kauffman Stadium tonight as we watch Sal Perez open the bottom of the 4th. James, thanks for joining us. Been a great start to the year for you. Is it business as usual for you this year, or is there anything special happening for you in 2014?
Just business as usual. I mean, it's every year is different. You gotta kind of reinvent yourself every year and try to stay consistent as you can and stay healthy. Really, I mean, that's the main thing. So, I've been fortunate enough to stay healthy and everything's going smooth.
So how did you reinvent yourself this year? What did you do that's different than what we've seen in the past?
Well, I mean, you're always tweaking. I say a double right there, maybe.
Sal Perez going to try to make it a double. Here's the throw into second, not in time, and it is an inning opening 2-base hit.
Well, I mean, it's just kind of one of those things, man, where you're always tweaking your delivery, you're always changing things in the off season, going into spring training, and really just honing in your delivery. So for me, it's just trying to stay as consistent as I can, not to try to do too much out on the mound, and stay aggressive and attack these hitters.
James, you mentioned staying healthy, and we've talked more, unfortunately, about elbow ligament surgery and Tommy John this year than ever before. It's become just a horrible epidemic in baseball. Is that something that you talk about with members of the staff internally in the clubhouse? Do you discuss the way this is going in the game?
It's just it's like one of those freaky things, I guess, man. It's really weird. It's an odd season for the Tommy John guys, man. But you got to do your best in the gym. You got to take care of your body, as best as you can, and obviously you got to have some luck on your side as well to stay healthy. So, if you can stay consistent with your workouts, I think for the most part, guys stay healthy. But this year, man, it's been unbelievable to watch.
Well, you talk about preparing yourself. We just had the Major League Draft. You were a high school signee. What would you recommend to those kids coming right out of high school, going right into pro ball, to get through those years in the minors?
For me, it's all about saving your bullets, man. I mean, you only have so many in your arm. It's you got to take care of yourself. I know a lot of young kids, they like to throw a long toss and throw as deep as they possibly can. And for me, it's this is a different game. We're playing every day. We're throwing every day. We're pitching every 5 days rather than every 7, once a week. So you got to try to save your bullets and really just know your body. I mean, if you know your body and if you're sore that day, you got to take it easy and go from there.
What was the most memorable, I'd even say shocking thing that you encountered going from high school to being on your own in pro ball?
I mean, just the traveling part. I mean, obviously the minor league. I spent about 6.5 years in the minor league, so it's that's a tough gig, man. It's you're constantly taking those bus rides and with not too much money. I mean, the kids now, at least they get a little bit of a paycheck, but just the being on your own and being away from your family and stuff is the hardest part.
Oh, those are the glory years, right? You spent a year in glorious Bakersfield, California.
Yeah.
Eric Karros owns restaurants, homes there.
Yeah, you're a hero out there, man. I spent about 2.5 years there, man.
That's the thing. You don't want to be player of the year in the same city 2 years in a row.
Yeah,
Not good.
That's right.
Mike Moustakas, the batter, with the runner at second and 1 away after Lorenzo Cain was caught looking at strike 3. And James, I have to ask you about what we just heard, or at least what I think we just heard when Mike Moustakas stepped into the box. Did we just hear Miley Cyrus accompany his plate appearance?
Yes, we did. I think when you're struggling a little bit hitting, you got to try to change something up, man. He's just trying to stay loose. He's staying positive. He did a little stint down in the minor leagues. He's came back up. He's ready to go now.
It seems to be working for Josh Reddick out in Oakland. I think what does he walk to the plate to, like Careless Whisper by George Michael? This could be a trend in baseball.
Yeah, it might be a little epidemic. You never know.
A strike here to Moustakas. It's 2 balls and a strike to the Royals' third baseman. Well, we know that during the interleague portion of the schedule in St. Louis, you enjoyed your time as a hitter.
Yeah, I enjoyed my time a little more hitting than I did pitching that day. It was kind of a struggle on the mound. It was I wasn't doing too well, so I had to kind of make up for it with the stick. And
well, here it is. We're showing it to the folks at home. Forget about the pitching part of it. There's a knock to right. Gapper making Matt Holliday go chase that thing down and eat it.
Just making yourself more valuable to the National League clubs too, right?
You never know. I used to be a good hitter in high school. You know, all the pitchers say that we can hit a little bit, but it's nice to get me one there.
Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Mike Moustakas. The story tonight so far, James, has been some timely hitting by your guys in the second, and Danny Duffy, who 25 years old and by all accounts still kind of honing in on the craft. When you watch him pitch with all the upside and with the big curveball, the good velocity, what are the first things that pop into your mind?
You know, I mean, he's come a long way. I mean, obviously he had Tommy John, and you know, I think he's battling back, and he feels really good this year, and he's learning. I mean, he's young, he's learning.
It's a base hit from Moustakas. Runners at the corners with 1 away.
You know, he's learning his craft, man, and you know, he's young, and he's doing well, and he's learning how to pitch. You know, he's learning how to pitch with all his pitches, and he's adjusting to the big leagues right now. So, you know, as soon as he hones in his mental game, I think he's going to be a good pitcher for a long time.
James, you know, right now, a few games under 500. What makes you believe in this ball club and that you guys will be playing in the postseason?
You know, for us, we haven't hit on all cylinders the whole entire season. I mean, it's a one game we're pitching good, we're not hitting, and we're hitting good, we're not pitching good. I mean, we haven't even hit on all cylinders at all this season, to be honest with you. I don't even remember a game that we have. So, you know, once we start hitting on all cylinders, and mind you, we're still in the hunt. You know, I mean, we're a couple games back here, and you know, that's a good sign. So I think once we start hitting on all cylinders, I think we're going to start riding here.
Hey, James, thanks for the visit during the game. We really appreciate your time. Best of luck the rest of 2014. We love watching you pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. And rest in peace, Don Zinn, baby. Love you.
Runners at the corners here for Alcides Escobar. James is actually paying tribute to the late Don Zimmer. I believe he's got a number or a message on his cap with Don Zimmer's passing this past week at the age of 83. Zim, a big influence on James Shields during their time together in Tampa St. Pete. Number 66, 66 years in baseball. The 1-1 to Escobar. Hot shot back to Phelps. He'll turn it into a double play. Bo had some hair on it, as Royals announcer Rex Hudler is prone to saying. Still 3-0 Kansas City. Back with Eric Karros, Matt Vasgersian. Baseball night in America, and it's been Danny Duffy night in Kansas City. He's been buoyed by some early offense, 3 in the Kansas City second, and has been in nothing but control since. He'll continue in the 5th. 4 scoreless innings so far. He's allowed a couple of singles and nobody past first base.
And the important thing, I think, when you look at that line, 0 walks. Had great control, working ahead of the hitters.
Beltran, Solarte, and Soriano in the Yankee half of the 5th. Carlos Beltran caught looking at strike 3 to start the 2nd inning tonight. Broken bat, soft liner out to left for Alex Gordon, and 1 away. We talk about the amateur draft, the first-year player draft in baseball, and Danny Duffy, a product of it. 3rd rounder in 2007. Out of high school in Lompoc, California, Central Coast out west, where as a kid he threw to his mom as his bullpen catcher, which was great because his mom played softball and she proudly wore her Mike Piazza modeled Rawlings catcher's glove. And that was all fine when Danny was a 5'4" freshman, tipping the radar gun at about 65. Mom was good back there, but as Danny got bigger, and he is a big drink of water, as you can see, strong kid. By high school, and by the time he was throwing north of 70 miles an hour, that was a little too much for Mom and most people, by the way. And then by the time he came out in the 3rd round in 2007, I only think people wearing proper catcher's gear could handle him as a bullpen catcher.
Well, remember, he briefly shut it down in 2010, decided that baseball wasn't his thing. Took some time away and then came back to the organization. And again, with an arm like he has, he can stay healthy. He's got a great future ahead of him.
1-out walk issued to Solarte. Duffy walked only 1 in his last outing Monday in St. Louis. So 1 out, 1 on for Alfonso Soriano. Soriano also a strikeout victim in his first try tonight. The pitch Soriano struck out on was a high changeup. And there are strikeouts where the pitcher gets the hitter out. There are strikeouts where the hitter gets himself out. And that 2nd inning punch out of Soriano, an example of the latter. It was a mistake that Soriano simply missed. That one bounces away from Perez, and Solarte advances to 2nd.
Well, Perez just not able to keep that ball in front of him. You see, gets the glove down, but does not get the body, doesn't drop to the knees. Ideally, you like to smother that ball.
Let's take you back to the 2nd, and this was Soriano striking out to end the inning.
You see, Perez wants it down. This is up over the middle part of the plate. You mentioned a changeup, and that's probably why he gets away with it. When you're up there and Duffy's pounding you in as a right-handed hitter, you start to become conscious of that inside fastball or that inside breaking ball. You feel like, I'm not going to get beat there. You can even throw a bad changeup away. He gets away with it.
Swing and a miss to put Soriano behind 1 and 2. I think it's an oversimplification when you call any major league starter a 2-pitch pitcher, but the fact remains that Danny Duffy's best 2 pitches, good fastball, big curveball, are what he throws mostly. And there's the breaking ball that strikes out Soriano. Oh, having a good time of it. The kid from Lompoc, California, whose mom used to wear a Mike Piazza glove, but Danny Duffy grew up idolizing Eric Karros as a Dodger fan back in the day.
Well, a youngster that liked the Dodgers and just happened to be playing during that time. And I had an opportunity to talk with him a few weeks ago. Real nice guy, real grounded. I'm looking forward to making a name for himself in this game. It's scary now, though, because mentally I don't feel like I've been gone that long.
2 gone now for Brian Roberts. And by the way, when you had a chance to visit with him in Anaheim 2 weeks ago, that was on Danny's request. It's not like we shoved you down there with a camera and said, go talk to this guy. Danny wanted to meet you and understand he enjoyed the conversation. 0-1 to Brian Roberts is in for a strike to put him behind quickly, 0-2.
You mentioned Danny Duffy being a 2-pitch pitcher. He's got the kind of stuff where he could basically tell the hitter, hey, I'm throwing a fastball here. Hey, I'm throwing the breaking pitch here. And he's that good with it that it's still difficult to hit.
A ball and 2 strikes. It's Ned Yost's belief that some of Danny Duffy's more recent success, speaking specifically of his last start Monday, comes with a perhaps more diplomatic use of the changeup. Show it every once in a while. The more sparing, the better. 2-2.
Well, again, until he develops better command of that pitch, it's more of something that you use every once in a while just to keep the hitters honest. But it's not a pitch you go to in tough situations or when you need an out.
Royals pitching coach Dave Eiland, former Yankee pitching coach Dave Eiland. That one misses up top, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes now.
Well, and you can still make a pitcher's pitch here. You don't want to just throw something down the middle because a base hit means a run probably. You've got first base open. You've got the number 9 hitter, the catcher Murphy, up next.
Three balls and 2 strikes. Runner at second. 2 gone, top of the 5th. Yankees trying to get on the board here in the middle of the night as that one's punched foul. Well, you take your success in small steps, and just in getting Solarte into scoring position. It's the first time New York's had a runner past first base tonight. Full count. We'll try it again. The next 3-2 home. Misses inside. Second walk of the inning. Hey, a reminder, celebrate Sunday all season long with special ticket offers. Head to the ballpark with your friends and family and go to MLB.com/Sunday. So 2 on 2 out for the number 9 hitter John Ryan Murphy.
Murphy in his last at bat flew out to left.
As we mentioned earlier, Murphy getting a spot start for Brian McCann tonight. Again with the Yankees in the midst of a stretch where they play 17 games in 17 days. Joe Girardi doing his best to keep guys fresh. I still don't think, and Brian McCann is one of the best hitting catchers in baseball. 7-time All-Star. And it's just clear the Yankees have not seen Brian McCann at his best yet. It's coming. It just hasn't happened yet.
Well, he had a nice at bat last night. Did a bases clearing triple. And I think it also has something to do with the fact that he wants to prove that he's worth what the Yankees gave him. He's coming over to a new league. But at the end of the year, I think you'll look up and you'll say, wow, we're happy to have him here in this clubhouse.
Yeah, I agree. Here's the 1-1. You know, New York is a pretty tough place to go to as a new player on a big contract and not have immediate success. Ask Eddie Lee Whitson about that, among others, many others. And I know you hear turn over the back of my baseball card. That'll show you what I'm capable of. Sometimes that's a tired cliche, but in the case of Brian McCann, whose work ethic is so great, whose leadership qualities are so great, I think it really is valid.
Well, and I think he genuinely wants to do well. I mean, there are guys that you come over, you don't do well, people get on you. It almost becomes, not to become bitter, but you're like, well, forget it then. I mean, you guys are going to get on me, this and that. McCann is not that way at all.
Murphy pops it up in the infield, drifting into foul territory for Moustakas. And Danny Duffy's longest inning of the night results in no runs for the Yankees. By Chevrolet, find new roads. A reminder, next Saturday, a full day of big league action, beginning with the Twins taking on Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers on Fox Sports 1. Then it's Baseball Night in America on Fox. Mike Trout and the Angels take on the Braves. The Nationals battle the Cardinals, or some will see the Reds and Brewers. Our MLB doubleheader begins next Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1, continuing at 7 Eastern on Fox. Back with Eric Karros, Matt Vasgersian, 3-0 Kansas City as the Royals dig in with the top of the order against David Phelps in the 5th. Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers on top of the Red Sox as we speak. A 5-1 score there. Detroit trying to win their second in a row after a 5-game slide. And meanwhile, the Red Sox unusual ebbs and flows to their World Championship defense continue. Lose 10 in a row, win 7 straight. Line to first, and a fine play by Mark Teixeira. That's 2 bullets that Aoki's hit that have found gloves tonight.
Again, it's, it's always says, oh, well, it evens out. As a hitter, it never evens out. It always seems like you hit the ball harder and not rewarded for it, but got to keep swinging.
Something that Omar Infante is telling himself, trying to snap out of a season-long worst 0 for 14. We talk about the Red Sox and their kind of up and down ways. The Yankees plugging along, both teams trying to catch Toronto in the AL East. With all the discussions that the baseball intelligentsia had about that division in spring training and in April, Eric, Toronto was the one team most agreed probably wouldn't be in the mix for a division title. Yet here they are with a commanding lead on the division and off to their best start since 1993 when they won a World Series.
So what does that tell you about the baseball intelligentsia?
They're
no bueno.
They're no bueno. That's perfectly said.
I was right there with you. I thought Tampa would be the team that would do well with their pitching and Joe Madden at the helm. I did not think Boston would be around. I thought last year everything went right for them. But I did not. I can't say that I saw Toronto filming at all.
They have been a terrific story this year. A great surprise. They've won 20 of their last 25. Here's Eric Hosmer now with bases empty and 2 gone.
Well, how about Bautista, Encarnacion? Home runs, the power.
Yeah, both likely all-stars this year. Melky Cabrera's had a resurgent season. We talked about this earlier, didn't have a chance to extend the conversation, but the American League All-Star ballot is a little funky because Edwin Encarnacion, though he has played much more at DH than at first base, is listed as a first baseman this year. That means that somehow the American League is going to have to accommodate Nelson Cruz, who leads the vote at DH, Encarnacion. David Ortiz is likely going. First base is crowded with Miguel Cabrera, Brandon Moss. Oh, and by the way, Joe Mauer's got to find a way to be on that team. It's going to be worth watching over the next month. Nothing in the 5th. By Bayer Back and Body, the official pain reliever of Major League Baseball. And by Burger King. Right now, try the new extra long barbecue cheeseburger. Just a couple of singles tonight by the Yankees. That is Danny Duffy's doing, and a 3-0 Kansas City lead results as we start the 6th. Back with Eric Karros, Matt Vasgersian. Brett Gardner leads things off for New York. Top of the Yankee order, Gardner, Jeter, and Ellsbury. Gardner has been kept quiet so far tonight, 0 for 2 with a strikeout as he takes a breaking ball for strike 1.
Well, important inning 2 for Duffy. He's got the 3-0 lead. Last inning he was a bit erratic, got into a little trouble, had walked 2 hitters. Now here you've got the top of the Yankee lineup. You'd like to silence them, then you really only need to get another inning, and you go to the back end of that vaunted Kansas City bullpen.
The 1-1 home to Gardner. Yeah, it's a plan that Ned Yost has been able to go to all too infrequently this year. Quality start, a lead of more than a run, and then let that bullpen eat because it's a good one. Three balls and a strike. 2 walks and 2 singles. That's what Duffy has limited the Yankee offense to thus far. And a full count now to Brett Gardner.
Taking all the way. His last at bat on the 3-1 pitch, he went after it. Popped up to the first baseman.
The payoff pitch home is slapped into the opposite field. Gordon twisted around a couple of times, recovers and makes a fine over the shoulder Willie Mays Vic Wirtz catch. Not quite that, but it was a fine running grab. With 1 away, that'll bring up Derek Jeter. Some of the iconic images of the 13-time All-Star and the man who occupies the number 9 spot on the all-time hit list. And in 5 years, these are the images that will accompany his induction in Cooperstown. The Yankee captain hitless so far tonight, 0 for 2. You know, with all the new ways to quantify success in baseball, and with the sabermetrics community, Eric, getting more and more of a voice with each passing year, the all-time hit list is something that simply speaks for itself. We're not talking about wins over replacement or BABIP, batting average of balls in play, or UZR, ultimate zone rating defensively. We're talking about how many times you step to the plate and get a hit. And for Derek Jeter, 3,369. Only 8 players have ever gotten more.
He still may move up on that list. There's a hitter that he could possibly run down. Again, you talk about winning games, winning championships, the way he's carried himself. Just solid year after year. You know, we were talking, he may not be the guy that, you know, whether it's the Mike Trout or the Puig or, you know, those types of guys you see now. And even in his heyday, I don't know if he was that player. But what he was and what he is just consistent, all-star, one of the best in the game.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Derek Jeter, batting with 1 away and the bases empty here. 3-0 Royals in the 6th. Two is a base hit into right. It's become kind of Derek's signature stroke in his senior years in the game. A bouncer that finds a hole through the right side.
At inside out, the bat head drags through and he just keeps his head on it, shoots it to the right side. Got a lot of hits that way. You know, I'm surprised that they don't shift on him. I mean, you know, with how prevalent the shift is now these days, just throwing a guy over to the right side, 3-man infield, make him try to pull the ball. He'd probably pull it through for a base hit.
Yeah, I think he'd be able to handle that. 1 out, 1 on now for Jacoby Ellsbury. A base hit for Derek Jeter, number 3,370. He's now 49 behind Carl Yastrzemski, next up on the all-time list. Ellsbury has one of the now 3 New York singles tonight. We've already documented how difficult it is to run against the Danny Duffy-Sal Perez combination. But with Derek Jeter aboard, it's worth noting that he is 1 stolen base away from joining another exclusive club. He's sitting on 349 career stolen bases. He stays put as the pitch misses high. When he gets to 350, he'll become just the 7th player in the 250 home run, 350 stolen base club. And it's a pretty good list. Ellsbury pops it up. And there are 2 away. Barry Bonds, Bobby Bonds, Ricky Henderson, Craig Biggio, Bobby Abreu, and Joe Morgan. The only players who have accomplished that combination of home runs and stolen bags.
I'm guessing right now with the amount of conversation going on over there between he and Hosmer, I don't think Derek has any thoughts of running right now.
Yeah, it'd be neat to see it tonight, but I agree with you. Here's Mark Teixeira now. Broken bat, foul ball into left.
That thing just sawed in half right there. See this ball off the end of the bat. Shatters near the hands. It's usually where guys break most of the bats, hitting it off the end. As far as a lot of people think, oh, you got jammed, that's why the bat broke.
The ball and a strike, the count to Mark Teixeira. We talked earlier about Mark's season and the right hamstring strain that put him on the DL, the continuing tenderness with the right wrist. Don't make the mistake of thinking that Mark Teixeira is somehow a fragile player. First 9 years of his career, he averaged 153 games a season. Wasn't until a calf problem flared up at the end of 2012 and then the wrist injury last year that he became a guy that would wear out the trainer's table a little more. He's been very consistent and durable short of the last year plus. 2-2.
Still this year, 10 home runs, tied for the team lead in RBIs, 27. Again, though, for a hitter, any type of hand injury, it can be devastating.
Full count now, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Danny Duffy has had to work a bit harder in the 5th and now here in the 6th inning. He threw 21 pitches in the 5th, and that had matched his total between the 3rd and 4th combined. Payoff pitch home. Wow, fouled off a foot.
That's the worst. It's the worst because it starts your foot or your ankle. It starts like having a heartbeat. It starts going boom, 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 boom. Then you've got to get back in the box. And then the last thing you want to do is hit another ball off your foot. Now, the pitcher and catcher are thinking, you know what, let's go right back down and in there again. As a hitter, you're just saying, God, get something up out over the plate, please.
This will be Duffy's 21st pitch this inning as well, as Jeter runs and it's fouled away.
Now, my guess is this is probably it for Duffy. He gets through this inning, and then you've got to navigate your way through 7, 8, 9. Take a look at Fox tracks. Nothing up in the zone. Everything down, down. Fastball trying to crowd him.
Now, Duffy's season high workload, a 97 pitch win back in early May, and there's ball 4 to Teixeira. So runners at first and second with 2 gone for the 2nd consecutive inning. Only the difference here is Duffy's got to navigate through the middle of the Yankee order.
Well, you've got Carlos Beltran coming to the plate. He's hitting 147 with runners in scoring position, but more importantly, that just has not hit left-handers well at all. Under 200 coming into today, and he struck out, fly out to 7th. Left fielder.
Well, this is the at-bat of the night so far. Carlos Beltran, hitless since being reactivated off the DL, puts a charge in that one to deep left and off the wall. Gordon picks it up with the bare hand, not before Jeter can score, and with one swing of the bat, the ex-Royal Carlos Beltran makes it a 3-1 ball game.
This pitch, you see Perez setting up right down the middle, and that's that pitch just a little bit out over the plate. Not right down the middle, but up in the zone. See, Beltran drives it to left. Fortunate that thing stayed in. Gordon does a nice job of hustling and getting it in. Well, and if you thought that that was the at-bat of the night, this now becomes the at-bat of the night.
Yeah.
Duffy doing a great job, but finds himself really one base hit away from having a tie ball game.
Look, if Duffy gets out of the jam against Beltran there, this 2 more runners are stranded, and it's still a 3-0 ball game. There's not as much intrigue as far as bullpen use, but we have a much more urgent situation here as a result of Beltran's RBI double. Here's Solarte tying runs on base. For the first time tonight, we see some bullpen activity behind Danny Duffy. Right-hander Aaron Crow is up for Kansas City. The 0-1 to Solarte. Behind 0-2 now.
Well, he's gone after him with 2 fastballs. And now he's got a lot to play with. Go down and in with the breaking ball. Run a fastball out over the plate, away. Off of the plate, I should say.
So Sharon Beltran aboard with an 0-2 count to Yangervis Solarte. So at 98 pitches now, this has become Danny Duffy's biggest workload start of the year.
Nice job by Perez there, keeping that ball in front of him. Prevents the Sheriff from coming in. But this is all part of the learning process of a young pitcher too. You know, you're in this situation, you got second and third, you're up to 100 pitches. This will be number 100. Now this is how you learn how to pitch. You can't just go out and throw.
1-2 fastball lined out to right center field. Kane coming on, dives and can't make the catch, and we are tied in Kansas City. A 2-out 2-run single by Yangervis Solarte, and the Yankees have scored 3 in the 6th to pull even.
Well, Solarte doesn't hit it all that well, but great placement. You see Kane hustling and makes the diving effort just out of the outstretched glove. He's got a beat on it, just misses it.
That's going to be all for the Royal starter after 5 2/3. Back to even in Kansas City. didn't know. And a couple of notes regarding this season series. New York has won 5 straight here against the Royals. Kansas City has struggled against the Yankees the last number of years. In fact, since the 2000 season, the Yankees have not lost a season series against the Royals. This is going to be up to Aaron Crow now to try to navigate the tie score and keep it as such for the next half inning. He'll do just that with a pop-up off the bat of Alfonso Soriano. All told, however, New York scores 3 to the bottom of the 6th, all tied 3 apiece. Twins. That's what we thought would happen, right? What? To the Twins? I guess Kendrys Morales is going to go from being a first baseman DH to just a DH. Or at least share that title with Joe Mauer.
Joe Mauer, yeah.
Meanwhile, back here in Kansas City, the Yankees have gotten on the board for the first time tonight, and they have done so with a 3-run 6th to pull even on behalf of David Phelps. He'll go back to work against Billy Butler, Alex Gordon, and Sal Perez. 3 runs on 7 hits for Kansas City. That damage coming in the 2nd. 3 runs on 5 hits for the Yankees. Those runs coming in the top of this inning. Two balls and a strike. The count to Billy Butler. We were visiting between innings during the commercial break on how cruel it can be on a starting pitcher. Danny Duffy is rolling right along tonight. Had allowed 2 singles through 5 shutout innings. Had a little control hiccup in the 5th, but no indication that that 3-run lead was going to get coughed up as quickly as it did.
Derek Jeter battled up there, and as he's done so many times in his career, shoots a ball, ground ball to right field. Teixeira ends up walking with 2 outs. And Beltran, who just has not hit a lick at all this year, hits that double. And then Solarte comes up and finds a spot in the outfield just past the outstretched cane, and we've got ourselves a baseball game, boys.
Yes, we do. The 3-1 from Phelps misses outside, way outside, and the leadoff hitter reaches base in the home 6th. Hey, celebrate the new season with Chevrolet. Share your excitement using #TheNew.
Can you explain that last pitch to me right there? You're 3-1. You just got a tie ball game. Billy Butler has 1 home run this year, and you break off a 45-foot curveball. Huh? Can I get a...
Yeah. I'm just making kind of a quizzical face. That's great for what we're doing, right? No, I agree with you.
You know, now you got Gordon up at the plate, arguably the Royals' best hitter. Not arguably, he is the Royals' best hitter right now.
I've heard it said this way, though, and just to play devil's advocate on that 3-1 breaking ball as Gordon takes a ball. It's not the pitch, it's the location of the pitch. If he threw a 3-1 curveball for a strike, probably wouldn't have been so crazy.
I'm still even questioning that. I mean, you're asking him to throw it for a strike as well. You just don't. You want to make Billy Butler earn his way down to first base right now. And if you've been dropping curveballs all over the strike zone tonight, I get it.
Understood. Ball and no strikes to Alex Gordon. He has an RBI double to his credit tonight, and it's now 2-0.
2-0, and they've been getting that outside pitch to Gordon all night long. I guess Murphy goes out there right now, sets up a good target on the outer half of the plate, tries to get a strike.
3-0 now. Here's a glass half full, glass half empty line for you. Glass half empty is that the top of the order has done nothing for Kansas City, but the rest of the lineup's been pretty good. All the productivity coming from Butler south. It is Butler aboard. The 3-0 pitch home to Alex Gordon's in for his strike.
Well, so he threw a 3-1 curveball to Butler. I'm Gordon right here. I'm looking for that fastball on the outer part of the plate. That's where they're setting up to try and get him out. That's where they're going. Wow.
And it catches the very bottom of the strike zone to fill the count.
Jerry Lane has been killing Alex Gordon tonight. No better way to say it.
Three balls and 2 strikes. Billy Butler off first. There is ball 4. Back-to-back walks. And here comes Larry Rothschild now. The Yankee bullpen is likely without some of its key contributors tonight. I know that when we visited with Joe Girardi, he indicated that there are a couple of arms he'd like to, quote, stay away from. That doesn't mean that they're not going to pitch under any circumstance, but Dellin Betances, who's been so brilliant this year, is a guy that in a perfect world would get a day off today. You see lefty Matt Thornton up for the Yankees.
I think they're out there obviously just buying some time for Thornton. Perez has had 2 base hits against Phelps so far tonight. Single and a double.
You know, making it more complicated for Joe Girardi is, in addition to trying to stay away from Dellin Betances, he'd like to give David Robertson a day as well.
That's why the managers get paid the big bucks. You know, we're sitting around, we're saying, oh, geez, well, they got Robertson, they got Betances, oh, they'll be fine. You know, but there are nights that there are players that you just can't use.
Here's Sal Perez now. 2 runners aboard after bases on balls have so far hurt David Phelps. They've not come around to hurt him in terms of a score. His first 2 walks of the night coming here in the 6th inning. Perez has singled and doubled and homered tonight. And the Royals have their 3-run lead back after all. 6th of the year for Sal Perez. 6-3 Kansas City.
Well, Phelps just hasn't been able to locate the ball where he wants to this inning, and no different right there. But again, I'll go back. The pitch for this inning was a 3-1 breaking ball to lead off the inning to Billy Butler.
A ball and no strikes to Lorenzo Cain. A walk to Butler, a walk to Gordon, a first pitch home run by Sal Perez. Well, we started the night, Eric, by talking about the relative lack of punch in the Kansas City lineup. Just 26 home runs as a team at the start of the night, but a big 3-run home run by their all-star catcher has given them their 3-run lead back. Cain to right center. Ellsbury on the move. He won't have a play. Cain runs well, eyeing up third base. He'll be there without a play.
Oh, we take a look here. Perez hitting the home run. This pitch is down and in. See Perez keep his hands inside. The back elbow's bent on contact, and he just drives this thing to the back end of the bullpen. You know, not only does that put the Royals ahead, but it puts Danny Duffy, who pitched really well, in line for the victory. Lorenzo Cain shoots this one to right center. He's just jetting right there.
Yeah, that's a triple, no problem for the speed of Lorenzo Cain.
You know, I got to go back. Sorry, I missed by. Crow came in and retired, one hitter. He is in line for the victory. Sounded good, though, didn't it?
It did sound good.
Sound kind of convincing, too?
I know where you're going there, because Danny Duffy pitched better than a guy who's going to get the ND tonight.
Right.
The cruel stylings, the cruel life of a starting pitcher. 0-1 the count to Mike Moustakas. There's more baseball left to be played here, by the way. On the ground for the drawn-in Brian Roberts, and that keeps Cain at third, 1 away. So this is exactly what Ned Yost talks about when he, and it's been hard to do. You know, the Kansas City media isn't quite what the media can be like in New York, but Ned has had to defend his decisions to not change his batting order. Even though Alex Gordon's been hot, there have been cries for Gordon to move up to the 3 spot. He's kept the status quo. He feels like the power's going to come this year, and maybe tonight's the night that all that starts to happen. Here's Alcides Escobar now.
I think he also looks at it as, if the Royals are going to get to where they want to go, which is the postseason, Moustakas is going to have to play well. Hosmer is going to have to hit third for this ball club. Billy Butler is going to have to swing back. It's not like they're an organization that can go out and make big blockbuster trades or take on huge salary or anything. This is what they've got. And to Ned Yost's credit, I mean, he has been patient as heck. We talked to him about, you know, did you say anything to the team after getting swept by the Astros? Granted, there was a hitting coach transition, but he said no. He said, you know, what am I going to say? These guys are playing hard. They're playing hard. What more can I say or ask them?
Escobar pops it into left. This will likely not be deep enough to score Cain. And that's the second out of the inning.
But see, those 2 at-bats right there with a runner on third, and that's a free run. And those have been 2 unproductive at-bats. Moustakas with the infield in. Can't get the runner in. And Escobar, who's been so good, has the same sort of problem. You know, and those are things that, okay, if you do end up winning this game, you say, you know, those kind of get washed under the rug. But over the course of the season, you get that runner in from third. It can mean the difference between a couple of games.
Here's Aoki now. Runner still at third base with 2 gone. The middle infielders back up to traditional depth. That's Jeter and Roberts. Corners stay close. We have not seen the crazy Yankee overshift as often tonight as on previous nights of the schedule. A lot of that is opponent specific. The Yankees are among the more frequent shifters in baseball. This is not a situation where you'd necessarily see that against a Yoki runner at third, 2 out, but just as a game-wide observation, we haven't seen it much tonight.
You know, I always wonder too, with say a pitcher doesn't have great location that night, you still going to play shifts? I mean, say I'm supposed to pitch a guy inside, I'm overloading on one side of the infield, but my guy just can't throw it inside. But am I still going to shift? You know, it's all predicated too on the pitcher and catcher, you know, hitting their spots.
Aoki hits his spot and squeaks it past Solarte into left. That brings in Kane and gives the Royals their largest lead of the night, 7-3 Kansas City. Here comes Joe Girardi. He's got the hook with him.
Aoki finally finds a spot. He's been hitting into bad luck. His previous 2 at-bats hit the ball hard, nothing to show for it. Shoots his by the diving Solarte.
Pitching change. 4 in the Kansas City 6th. We'll be right back. On an extraordinary journey, but they've saved the best for last. Be there for the unforgettable conclusion to television's greatest adventure, the finale of Cosmos, A Space-Time Odyssey, tomorrow at 9/8 Central on Fox. Well, some changes to post for you with 4 runs in the Kansas City 6th. First, it's Matt Daly taking over on the mound. Omar Infante, the batter, with a pinch runner aboard who gets checked in on immediately, and that's Terod Dyson, who takes over on base for Nori Aoki.
Dyson earlier in the year playing a lot of center field while Kane is on the disabled list. Great speed. Excellent defender.
And not a bad occasional start in a daily fantasy league as well, I might add. Steal a base for you. Looks like Joe Girardi wanted to get some clarification on this close play at first. Oh boy, he's out. Yet the Yankees choose not to challenge. Was I nuts or was he out?
He looked out to me.
Tony Peña still on the phone with the video room. Quote Hawk Harrelson, he gone. Yet no challenge. Daly out of the stretch, or the squat in his case. You know, every once in a while we look at those challenge plays. We'll look at it on replay in super duper special slow-mo. We'll think we've seen it clearly. The guys in the clubhouse have a much better handle on this than we do, because they have a better sense as to whether or not that is overwhelming video evidence. Infante pops it up. Teixeira calling for it to retire the side. Baseball Night in America on Fox will return to Kansas City after a word from your local Fox station. (7-3) Kansas City after the Royals get 4, 3 of them coming on the big swing of the bat by Sal Perez. Top of the 7th inning. Brian Roberts will lead things off. It'll be Roberts, John Ryan Murphy, and that Brett Gardner. Aaron Crow continues. He recorded the final out in the top of the 6th inning and stands to be the beneficiary of a decision should things stay as such. Roberts has been on base in both of his plate appearances tonight, a single and a base on balls. Popped up. Slicing for Moustakas and one away.
Well, and these are the important innings, at least for the Royals. Crow finishing up the 6th. He can get through the 7th. Got Davis and then the closer down there.
A good group with some hard throwers. Kelvin Herrera. Wade Davis has been outstanding. Greg Holland.
Yeah,
finishing
when he comes
things
in,
up.
I mean, that just not fun. Holland is just not fun.
Gerard Dyson, as we mentioned, stays in the ball game. He takes over in center, moving Lorenzo Cain to right. And it's a ball and a strike to John Ryan Murphy. 1-2. You know, we had a rather unusual end to that 6th inning when we showed you a pickoff play at first that looked like Gerard Dyson was out. And we took a look at it again in replay. Looked like a challengeable play, yet the Yankees did not challenge. And I think we found out the reason why. We'll show it to you once again. Here's the 2-2 first of all to Murphy, fouled away.
Well, you see, here's the play at first base. Teixeira tags out Dyson, but he's called safe. This play should have been challenged. The problem, though, batter is in the box right there, and Daly is taking the mound. Now, the argument could be, hey, does he have his both feet in the box? I mean, maybe that's what Joe Girardi is saying. Does that constitute being in the box? Obviously, Jerry Lane and the crew felt like it did. You watched Daly taking the rubber. Now, theoretically, he could throw a pitch right there because the hitter has one foot in the box. The other foot is touching the line. And if it's touching the line, you are theoretically in the box.
So batter in the box, pitcher making contact with the rubber, can't throw the challenge flag. Here's Brett Gardner.
I'll tell you what, though, if you ever saw a pitcher throw a ball with a guy getting in the box like that, there'd be a lot of
it's a party violation.
Displeasure.
It's a party foul.
That would be a unwritten rule thing.
Quick pitch, a party foul.
Well, Jerry Lane going on that outer part of the plate again.
Boy,
not discriminating, that's for sure.
Yeah, outer part of the plate to Brett Gardner, and John Ryan Murphy had a strike called on a pitch that was up around the shoulders. Here's the 1-1 home to Brett Gardner. And it's a ball and 2 strikes.
I mean, that thing's a couple inches off the plate. I'll give it to him. At least he's been consistent. But, man, it's tough enough to hit when the ball's over the plate, let alone off of it.
Somewhere Tom Glavine and Javi Lopez are smiling.
And so is Livan Hernandez.
Here's the 1-2. And Gardner sends a little fly ball out to the opposite field for Gordon. A 1-2-3 inning for Aaron Crow. 7th inning stretch at Kauffman Stadium. 7-3 Royals. And by And Eric Hosmer leading things off for Kansas City. Be Hosmer, Butler, and Gordon here for the Royals. Detroit Tigers have just extended their lead over the Red Sox. Now a 7-3 game in Motown. But could it be that the Red Sox are in the midst of another one of their streaks? Lose 10, win 7, on the verge of losing their 5th in a row. All back-to-back-to-back like. 0-2 to Hosmer.
This is a guy for me, Matty, that I think can really carry this ball club. If you're looking at a player that you can get on his shoulders, I mean, he has the ability, he has power. I mean, he has ridiculous power. Guy's an accomplished hitter. He's young. Just hasn't been able to get on any type of roll yet this year.
Still 0-2. Well, Eric Hosmer hitless tonight so far. But since the start of the 2013 season, only one player in all of baseball has more multi-hit games than the Royals' first baseman. Oh, that ball is absolutely crushed, and there it is. Home run number 2 for Eric Hosmer.
Talk about Hosmer's power. This is just up and in, and absolutely devastates this pitch. See here, he's loaded, ready to go. Then trust me, that swing was good. That's just a, I can breathe. Man, I'm getting some sleep tonight, brother.
This is the time of year when it happens, at least the past season plus for Eric Hosmer. 8-3 Kansas City. Now Billy Butler. I mean, the same thing happened last year. 1 home run through May, and then Hosmer went crazy starting in June.
Hey, hit 16 after the middle of the month. And again, it's not, you come out and watch BP, and that guy is putting balls way back there. I mean, it's not like, this guy's a 10 home run guy. This guy's more, has the ability to hit 30.
2 balls and a strike to count to Billy Butler. I mean, we didn't actually think that home run pace for Hosmer was going to continue. There's no chance Eric Hosmer was going to finish this year, if healthy, with 5 home runs. Billy Butler with a swing and a drive to left. This one doesn't have quite the juice. And that's the first out of the inning.
Let's not get greedy here now, Matty. The Royals 2 home runs tonight. That's almost 10% of their season output in one night, right? 26 going in. I mean,
yeah. But you know, again, I'm such a what have you done for me lately type of guy. But maybe this is the night. We kind of intimated that when Perez hit the home run. Maybe this is the night that in a couple of months Ned Yost goes back to and says, here it is. Circle this date. What is the date, by the way? June 7th. The night we started hitting for power. A ball and no strikes to Alex Gordon, who, despite a frustrating evening with the strike zone itself, has double driven in a run and scored twice.
They've been just wearing him out outside. Throwing him in to keep him off the plate and getting the strike call in the outer part.
Two balls and no strikes to count to Gordon. First base, and you know this because you lived it. It's a position from which power is expected. And very rarely do you see regular first basemen in either league not hit for a little power and keep their job?
Well, I think the frustrating part is when you are struggling or you're not hitting for power. You know, you're up there trying to launch, trying to hit balls out. I remember there was a quote from Ted Williams who said the most surprised guy in the park when a home run is hit ought to be the guy that hit it.
Full count now. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Alex Gordon.
You know, and Hosmer just hitting that thing, you know, at least it makes him feel like, yeah, I still got it. It's going to come. Because it's one thing for somebody to tell you, yeah, it's going to come. Ned Yost, yes, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Well, you know what? We need some results around here because somebody just telling me that ain't going to do it.
Hey, that one comes in and gets Alex Gordon. 3-2 pitch gets away from Matt Daly. Gordon hit by the pitch.
Yeah, nothing intentional at all about that one. Daly's missed his spots a couple of times here. That's going to leave a mark. That's going to have a nice color to it tomorrow. Tighten up.
Oh, yeah, good times. 1 out, 1 on, 1 in for Sal Perez. I mean, I can't imagine how tired the Royals are of hearing about what we've spoken of for the first few innings tonight, and that's the power outage.
But again, that even adds to it because you're constantly having to discuss it, not necessarily amongst yourselves, but you know, us, the media. Oh, we're going to ask about it. We're going to ask Ned Yost. We're going to ask the players. What do you think? What's going to happen? And then every day you got to respond. The best way to answer all that is to hit a few.
Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball, presents the walk-off. Great walk-offs are waiting at foxsports.com/Budweiser. Grab some buds. If this game is to see a walk-off home run tonight, things have gone frighteningly wrong in the Kansas City bullpen.
Yeah, we mentioned we've got the strikeout artist down there with Wade Davis having a great year with the strikeouts, and then of course Greg Holland, been absolutely electric over the past 2 years.
2 balls and a strike to count to Sal Perez, who is a triple away from the cycle. You see Kelvin Herrera up, the hard-throwing right-hander. Single in the second, double in the fourth, 3-run home run in the sixth. And if you're thinking there's no way this big guy has the speed to hit a triple, think again. He's hit 5 career triples. It's not likely, but it's possible.
Huh? Must have caromed off a part of the wall. Speed? You're saying speed?
A series of bad hops, perhaps. 2-2. This place used to be home to quite a few triples back in its AstroTurf incarnation. For my money, this is still one of the most beautiful ballparks in baseball. There are really newer, there are shinier, not too many more pleasing.
And you couldn't ask for better weather tonight either. I mean, just a beautiful night.
The 2-2 to Perez. If you take Fenway and Wrigley out of the equation, you almost can't even count those anymore because they're just in a class by themselves. Kauffman Stadium is the 4th oldest ballpark in the big leagues.
You know number 3, right?
Venerable Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, you'd never think that.
It's amazing. Fenway, Wrigley, Dodger Stadium, Angel Stadium, the O.Co Coliseum in Oakland, and this place. And Sal Perez making a bid that will be denied for a second home run. Well, same pitch, same swing as that ball he hit out to left last half inning. 2 away. Lorenzo Cain has singled in a run, tripled, and scored 2 tonight. Off the end of the bat and past Brian Roberts into right. Gordon to third. Twelve hits tonight for Kansas City. Here comes Joe Girardi. And with the left-hander Mike Moustakas scheduled, another Yankee pitching change. We'll be right back. When it looked like Gerard Dyson was picked off, it wasn't reviewed, but Jerry Lane, the home plate umpire, explains.
He was on the mound. Dave. What's that?
He had a foot out of the box. He did. He wasn't.
No, I don't think so, Joe.
Well, at least he said, "I don't think so, Joe." And what we just saw, technically his foot was on the line, his front foot, but I have never seen an umpire signal to the pitcher to throw the ball or to play ball when the batter is ingratiating himself to the box like that.
Yeah, thus the non-challengeable aspect of that play. I think the video evidence was such that the Yankees would have liked to challenge the call, but in Jerry Lane's eyes, and we heard his explanation there as he was wearing a microphone, batter was in the box.
He said, "I think," you know. Thank you to Jerry Lane and Major League Baseball for wearing the mic and letting us experience what's going on down on the field.
Yeah, taking folks behind the curtain. A ball and a strike to count to Mike Moustakas. Runners at the corners with 2 away. Royals on top by 5 late tonight, last of the 7th. And the next offering by the rookie right-hander Jose Ramirez misses to make it 2-1. Ramirez last appeared on Wednesday against Oakland. That night signaled his major league debut. Had been called up from AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre prior to that game. This is his second stint with the team. Came up briefly earlier this year and did not get into a contest. Two balls and two strikes on Mike Moustakas. Hosmer got one tonight. Sal Perez got one tonight. As you see, Alcides Escobar on deck. If there's one player that Royals fans would identify as the guy we really need to get going the most, it may well be the guy at the plate right now. Mike Moustakas 1 for 3 tonight. Runner goes from first to swing and a miss, and that puts an end to the 7th. Good night to be a Royal. Swinging for power and leading 8-3 at the end of 7. The #1 live streaming sports service is celebrating 12 years. Join the millions of subscribers. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit MLB.com for details. Fans, follow every game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. It's just really hard to do this with a guy slicing meat like that. Get live look-ins, instant replay, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.TV game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store or visit MLB.com today. The barbecue capital of the world. Very distracting. Looks fantastic.
Great place to be a vegetarian, right?
Derek Jeter leads things off against the new pitcher on the mound for Kansas City, hard-throwing right-hander Kelvin Herrera.
Yeah, he's been solid this year for KC. Again, he compliments Wade Davis and Holland.
Jeter, Ellsbury, and Teixeira here in the New York 8th. Yankees down to their last 6 outs. Folks taking in what may be one of their last opportunities to record a Derek Jeter plate appearance in Kansas City. Series finale tomorrow. Series finale Monday, beg your pardon.
Which is after tomorrow. That's what you meant.
That's right. Tomorrow, Hiroki Kuroda and James Shields, and then on Monday, Vidal Nuno and Jason Vargas.
Yeah, and not an easy road trip for the Yankees. They've got Seattle and Oakland on this 10-game road trip.
.98-mile-an-hour fastball at the hands, fouled away.
You know, it's interesting because for so many years it's take pitches, wear the starter down, get to the bullpen. And I think to combat that, general managers have gone out and built bullpens where you got guys coming out 95, 97, 98. And I'm not so sure it still makes sense to wear down the starter to get to the bullpen, because those arms that are coming out of the bullpen, they're not friendly anymore. That's where you used to beat up guys and, you know, you could theoretically, quote unquote, get your numbers. But I don't know. You go up and you take the pitches, you get that starter out in the 5th inning so you could go wear some 98-mile-an-hour fastball in your hands?
Well, if relievers aren't as friendly these days, Kelvin Herrera is just downright ornery. Look at that. 100 miles an hour to strike out Derek Jeter. Let's check into the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles with Ryan Field and a game break. All right, Ryan, thanks. Orioles trying to hang on and defeat the best road team in baseball, at least to start the season. Oakland 21-11 on the road this year. One gone, and now Jacoby Ellsbury. So we've seen the velocities from Kelvin Herrera, and noting your last comment about how good bullpens are in general these days. Herrera's average fastball velocity, just a tick shy of 98 miles an hour, is the highest among all relievers in the game. And that includes the likes of Aroldis Chapman, who has the reputation because he'll throw that 100+ mile an hour fastball. But average velocity belongs to this man.
It tells you he's not even the closer on this staff.
Ellsbury off the end of the bat, a little flare to center field that'll dump in for a base hit. Well, Kansas City hosted an all-star game a couple of years ago, and Tuesday, July 15th, baseball's best gather in Minnesota. Derek Jeter will take the field for his last all-star game ever in what promises to be an emotional and unforgettable night. Special coverage begins at 4:30 on Fox Sports 1. Followed by the 2014 All-Star Game at 7:30 on Fox. One out, one on now for Mark Teixeira.
You look at this. Look at this shift. Even this guy throwing 100 miles an hour, you got 3 guys on the right side of the infield, and look at where Escobar is. He's shading right up the middle. Even at 98 or 100, they still feel if Teixeira hits a ball on the ground, he's going to pull it.
Yeah, you bring up a great point. That is among the head-scratching aspects of the overshift that we've seen in abundance around baseball this year. If Mark Teixeira is just a little late on that 98 and hits it on the ground, it's a double.
I mean, and even more so, you know, you're setting up outside. And I guess they figure if he hits it to left, it's going to be a line drive, and it wasn't going to be defensible anyhow.
Right. And here's another thing. If Mark Teixeira does hit it on the ground, say he bounces it to Eric Hosmer at first, the stats will reflect that the shift, quote unquote, worked. Whereas that ground ball would have been an out in a standard defensive alignment. There goes Ellsbury, and that one's fouled away. Jacoby Ellsbury really hasn't had a chance to run much tonight. He has been on base twice, but in the first didn't even attempt it against Danny Duffy. And here we are with the Yankees down by 5. And it's going to take a lot more than a Jacoby Ellsbury bag to get New York back in the game. We'll see if they start him again on 2-2. They do not. Full count to Teixeira now. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Carlos Beltran next. His double back in the 6th started the scoring. It was an inning in which the Yankees would eventually tie with 3 runs. 5 unanswered, however, by the Royals. And Hosmer's there for this foul pop, 2 away. So Ellsbury aboard for Carlos Beltran now with 2 away. Do you remember the discussions this offseason when it appeared a certainty Carlos Beltran was not going back to St. Louis, and the list of suitors developed? There were some who felt like sentimentality might have taken Carlos Beltran back here. That slap to third base. And the Yankee Carlos Beltran, the ex-Royal, grounds out to retire the side in the 8th. Moto G from Motorola, and by the makers of One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of Major League Baseball. Back alongside Eric Karros, Matt Vasgersian, and an 8-3 Kansas City lead. Royals here in the last of the 8th inning will have Alcides Escobar to lead things off. He's followed by Gerard Dyson and Omar Infante. Jose Ramirez continues. The second Yankee reliever used behind the starter David Phelps tonight. Phelps, Daly, and now Ramirez continuing in the 8th. ball and a strike. The count to Alcides Escobar. We've been keeping our eyes on the Tigers and Red Sox this evening for obvious tie-ins to both of these teams. And Detroit now with an 8-4 lead in the bottom of the 7th inning, trying to make it 2 in a row. 2 in a row over Boston and 2 in a row overall after the Tigers dropped 5 straight.
Well, the Tigers went on a stretch where they lost 13 of 17.
And a fly ball for Soriano and 1 away. Now the veteran Yankees, including Mark Teixeira, who shared a moment with home plate umpire Jerry Lane earlier.
Foot sore?
Yeah.
Is your foot sore?
It's all right. It's a little sore. It's a little sore, but everything's a little sore, right?
When you get our age, it is.
You're right. Absolutely.
What do you mean get our age? That's 55 versus 34. That's not in the same quadrant there. Our age. Oh boy. Well, that's the thing. You know, the grinds of a baseball season, and especially when you do get older and you've got a number of games behind you, you're never playing in optimal conditions. What I mean by that, you're not 100%. And you've got to figure out ways to get by, things to do, whether it's physical, how you approach a game day in and day out, how you prepare yourself. Very few guys have very few days where you're feeling 100% at this level.
Three and 0. And Dyson takes a strike. So many people don't realize it. You take baseball for granted during the spring and summer because it's just a part of the fabric of our summer months. 162 games played in 180 days. Not a lot of recovery time. Younger players flourish under those circumstances. Younger players like Shelby Miller, who is the subject of our Lowe's Never Stop Improving pitcher profile. A complete game 3-hit shutout today on the road against the mighty Toronto Blue Jays. Miller improves to 6-5. And of course, with a lot of Cardinal fans watching the Royals, sharing a market and sharing that I-70 corridor, a big day for the Redbirds north of the border. Here's Omar Infante now with 1 out and 1 on. Certainly a welcome result for Shelby Miller, who had lost his 3 previous starts, allowing at least 4 runs in each of them. Came up big earlier today up at Rogers Center. 1-1 to Infante. Eric Hosmer, who homered in his last try, waits on deck. Into center field and playable for Ellsbury in out number 2.
Well, Eric Hosmer again, the big home run. You know, the Yankees coming into tonight giving up 67 home runs, which was the most in the American League. So something had to give. You know, they were going to give up something. The Royals, they don't hit any. They've got to run into 1 or 2.
Nothing in 1 the count to Eric Hosmer. You know, we were talking about how power is such an expected part of a major league first baseman's resume. There have not been many everyday first basemen to strike for fewer than 5 home runs in a season. The pace that Hosmer had been on previously, one that we all expect him to blast past. And if you take a couple of noted contact hitters at the position away from it, you know, Joe Mauer would be an example currently. American League first baseman with fewer than 5 home runs in a season. There have been just a handful since 1973. We do not expect Eric Hosmer's name to be added to this list. Rod Carew, a guy that you didn't expect power from, and it was just fine. He was winning batting titles, so who cares about the small home run totals? Mike Hargrove in 82 and 83, and Bruce Bochy in 84, then as an Oakland A. That's it.
Yeah, Hargrove surprised me. He's a decent-sized guy. That I would not have guessed.
2 balls and 2 strikes. I mean, when they're casting movies for first baseman, it's always the big, unshaven, slow-footed mashers.
What were you trying to say?
I'm not saying unshaven maybe for you, but
slow-footed.
Right? No, I didn't go there necessarily. Hey, that's a foul ball. It nailed Bob Davidson.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Wow.
Oh boy. That's a tough one to call foul. Bob's standing in fair territory. I know it's where it crosses the bag.
And I think it bounced the left side of third base, right around the third base spot. So
2 balls and 2 strikes is the count to Eric Hosmer.
He's just trying to help out the ball guy down in left field. Nothing wrong with that, Bob.
That catch Bob on the shin or on the knee? He's going to be walking with a crooked gait for the next couple of days. Either that or next time he calls balls and strikes, he's going to sound like Madeline Kahn. Runner goes. Hosmer slugs that one foul. When the Yankees bat in the 9th, and they'll do so down at least 5, the 6, 7, 8 part of the order, in a non-save situation. Next 3-2 pitch is popped up. Teixeira indicates he's got a handle on this, and that retires the side in the 8th. One last chance for New York, down by 5 in Kansas City. A 5-run lead. Your T-Mobile game changer profile. It's Salvador Perez who was the game changer tonight. 3 for 4, just a triple shy of the cycle. A big 3-run home run that gave the Royals the 3-run lead that went away when New York got back on the scoreboard. Game changer profile brought to you by T-Mobile, official sponsor of Game Changers. Of all the indignities, he's the T-Mobile game changer, and then he gets replaced. Brett Hayes takes over behind the plate for what could be the final inning of the night. Certainly what the Royals are hoping is the final inning. Michael Marriott, the new pitcher, will try to put things to bed this evening at Kauffman Stadium. Solarte, Soriano, and Roberts in the top of the ninth. Out to left center, and in between Gordon and Dyson, Solarte on his way to second. A leadoff double in the New York ninth. The Fox family would like to send out our condolences to Gus Johnson, our colleague Gus and his family, with the passing of his mother, B. Troy Johnson. Gus credits her with giving him his love of sports. A pinch hitter now with a runner at second and nobody out, as Ichiro Suzuki grabs a bat off the bench. Ichiro in his senior statehood now sharing a position, part of what Joe Girardi kind of informally announced as a right field platoon. And with the right-handed reliever out there, it's a chance for Ichiro to swing the bat and single into right field. Runners at first and third with nobody out.
You take a look at Ichiro's swing, just so smooth, compact, a lot of hands, a lot of upper body. He's really had a Hall of Fame career just here in the States. Some of the things that he's accomplished.
I think that's a safe statement. I think Ichiro's Cooperstown bound 5 years from whenever he decides to shut it down. Here's Brian Roberts now with runners at the corners and nobody out. Michael Marriott's in his second stint in the Royal bullpen after being recalled from Omaha on May 25th. He had some opportunities to close ball games with the AAA club. Just in case Greg Holland is getting loose in the Royal bullpen behind him.
Well, Marriott giving up more hits in innings pitched. Hadn't given up a home run yet, but always around the plate. Doesn't have overpowering stuff.
Roberts behind 1 and 2. Tigers and Red Sox are in the bottom of the 7th inning now, with Detroit still on top by 4. We started talking about that little hiccup that the Tigers had earlier this week, losing 5 in a row, and you talked about how it was a portion of a greater slide for them. If nothing else, it gave the rest of the AL Central a little light at the end of the tunnel. In the minds of so many, the Tigers are the class of the division. Cleveland, Kansas City, the White Sox are better than some had them advertised. Even the Twins up from a down couple of years. Keeping the Central Division tight would certainly keep interest in places outside of Detroit.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, I was here with Fox. We did the Tigers-Royals game on a Saturday. Danny Duffy pitched that game as well, but that whole weekend, Detroit just looked so much better than Kansas City. I mean, it didn't even look like the two teams were comparable. Again, Ned Yost just said, hey, just stick with us. We're going to be fine. And he's right. I mean, they're right in the thick of things, and Detroit has come back to earth.
Roberts bounces it to second. And that's the first out of the inning, with Solarte coming around to score to make it an 8-4 ball game.
Well, nice play by Infante, getting over there to grab the ball, and then, of course, just recording the out. Don't care about the run. Don't care about Ichiro getting to second. Looking for outs right now.
So now another pinch hitting opportunity as Brian McCann will grab a bat off the bench. And the first offering home to the 7-time All-Star misses off the corner. In Brian McCann and Derek Jeter, a couple of Yankees, now teammates of course, who are used to having their All-Star break plans spoken for. Since 2006, both Derek Jeter and Brian McCann have been to 7 of them. And along with David Wright and David Ortiz, that's the most in baseball over that time. One out, one on, one in. Pitch to McCann is driven to center field. Dyson has room to put it away, and the Yankees are down to their final out on the road tonight. Ichiro advances to third. So only Brett Gardner stands in the way of an 8-4 Royals victory at home tonight.
Royals offensively had a big night. They even left quite a few runners on base. They had some other scoring opportunities. Duffy pitched relatively well.
Gardner held hitless tonight. The Yankees started play tonight with a better road record than home mark. And should things not turn around tonight, Joe Girardi's guys would drop to 18-14 on the road. Still a better record than at home. Doesn't happen very often that the Yankees are better away from Yankee Stadium. The last time they had a winning road record and losing home record, 1968, Mickey Mantle's final season in the big leagues. A 2-out runner at third, a run in here in the ninth, 8-4 Kansas City.
And if Gardner can get on, these folks here have another chance to see Derek Jeter, who's on deck.
The farewell tour will continue tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day we're told the Royals will do their gift presentation. That's become one of these league-wide, if not sport-wide events. That actually is Monday, the last game of the series. The 2-2. Surfboard in San Diego, cowboy boots in Houston. What's he going to get? What's your guess?
A big slab of meat. With some barbecue sauce. Unlimited supply.
Yeah, try getting that one home to Tampa. Full count to Brett Gardner. Marriott's pitch is slapped to third for Moustakas. And that'll do it tonight. The Royals even up the 4-game series with a Saturday night win at home. 8-4 Kansas City, the final score. The Burger King plays of the day. Well, a team that had hit only 26 home runs, the fewest in all of Major League Baseball, benefited by the long ball tonight. Big 3-run home run by Sal Perez. And just the second of the year by Eric Hosmer. Ned Yost is hopeful that this is a harbinger of things to come at Kauffman Stadium. For Eric Karros, Matt Vasgersian saying so long from Kansas City. We send it now to Ryan Field, Frank Thomas, and C.J. Nitkowski right after our break in the Fox Sports Studios for more post-game coverage.